Thank you for joining this Swecare webinar that we called with a loud name, Corruption in Ukraine, Difficult Questions, Honest Answers and Real Opportunities, or in short, Doing Business in Ukraine. So the idea of this meeting was born from stereotypes that you can't have a legal business in Ukraine without meeting one or another type of corruption phenomena in Ukraine. But in the project Swedish Support to Sustainable Healthcare in Ukraine, we always try to show Ukraine not only as a charity case, but a real business case, even in war times. But speaking about the opportunities without mentioning challenges is not fair. That's why we decided to organize this meeting, this webinar or seminar, just conversation that will help everyone who was afraid or ashamed or very interested in corruption in Ukraine to have the opportunity to ask all questions and in safe and professional environment. And you will be able to do it after the presentation of our great speaker. So our speaker today is Oles Dmytrenko, expert in foreign economic relations, compliant lobbying and anti-corruption policies, senior government relations manager at CFC Big Ideas, author of the book Corruption, A Bone in the Throat, Kiev, Ukraine. And I want to remind you that this webinar will be recorded in case if you want to share some sensitive information. Before we will start, I want to invite the CEO of Swecare Foundation, Maria Helin, for a short welcoming word. Maria, floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Katya. And I think that was a very nice introduction, so I will be very, very short. But my name is Maria Helling. I'm the CEO of Swecare Foundation. Our mission is to support internationalization of the Swedish healthcare and life science sectors and to contribute to better health around the world. Since a few years back, we have this special focus on Ukraine and a project where Katya and others are very involved and arrange activities like this. And we understand, of course, that we need to understand the situation better to be able to, as Katya says, to dare to be there, to do business, to do partnerships with our counterparts in Ukraine. And this is an important piece of the puzzle, I think. So we're very happy to have Oles with us today, and I'm looking forward to the discussions. Please.
Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Oles Dmytrenko. Can you hear me? Yes, that's good. That's good. I'm trying to share my presentation right now, and I'm sure it will not be a difficult task to do. Yes, can you see my presentation right now, Katya?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so it is my honor to be with you today, and especially I would like to start with the words of gratitude of the Ukrainian people to the state representatives of state business and humanitarian organizations in Sweden. We know that Sweden has provided at least 20 packages of assistance to Ukraine, both defense and humanitarian, at least 9 billion euros in the last few years. And we admire, as Ukrainians, such a support and attitude toward Ukrainians, because Sweden, for example, has not signed any special agreements with Ukraine. Sweden does not have any legal obligation to support Ukraine, like the United States, for example, or the UK under the Budapest Memorandum on Ukraine's nuclear disarmament and to receive security assurances from these countries. It is a pure goodwill of Sweden and responsibility of Swedish society to support Ukraine in this crucial time. So this is I wanted to make sure that you hear these words of gratitude from us. Okay, so now let's dive in. I will try to focus and be very specific today. It's a practical webinar, and at the end you'll be able to ask your questions and I will be happy to answer. I will address 5 key issues: Ukrainian mentality, advantages, opportunities Swedish organization might have today working with Ukraine, corruption issues, mistakes foreign companies make when trying to work with Ukraine, and how to succeed in Ukraine. So let's move on. How do you perceive Ukraine in Sweden? What do people say about Ukrainians, Ukraine? Let's take a minute of interaction.
So anyone can share.
Yes, it's an open question. Mm-hmm. What people think when they hear Ukraine, you know?
That you're brave.
Yes.
And that you have less trust in the system and in the government and things like that. If you compare with Swedes, of course, that has quite a high level of trust.
I would say very resilient people.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this sounds very complimentary, and I appreciate that. I feel proud now of being Ukrainian. You know, so it sounds very good, very good. And I warmly receive these compliments and comments. To be honest, we hear all kinds of different stories. At least, like from my experience, I heard stories like these guys take foreign assistance, like defense, military assistance, and they sell it to Somali. So do not support Ukraine because they will resell it to Somali, you know. And then Ukraine is a very corrupt country. Don't do any business with Ukraine because it's so corrupt that, you know, it's just forget about it. So we hear all kinds of stories. Now let me try to get back with my presentation. It disappeared, at least. Can you see my presentation right now?
Yes. And
Yes.
Oles, maybe it's better to turn off your video because sometimes you have problem with internet connection.
Mm-hmm. Okay. One moment. Yes. I have in different windows presentation and video translation. It's okay. Yeah, so I want to highlight the mentality of Ukrainians. Sometimes one of the thoughts that I often hear that Ukrainians and Russians are the same, especially here, this from our American friends, you know, this Ukrainian and Russians are the same. So just take a look quickly at these 2 pictures, paintings by Ilya Repin, a famous artist in the 19th century. To the right, you see the picture called Burlaki na Volge, Burlaks on Volga. And basically, he described the mentality or the spirit of Russians at the time. Total despair, slavery, hard work, fatalism, and just hopelessness. And around the same time, he started working on another painting to the left. It's called Cossacks writing a letter to the Sultan, Turkish Sultan. And he was working for 11 years on the picture to the left with the Cossacks, and he did it secretly so that the Russian Tsar would not see the the spirit he was depicting in this picture of Ukrainian characters. To put it simply, the Ottoman Empire, the Sultan of Ottoman Empire, wanted Ukrainians to give up their territories. So he sent a letter to the Ukrainian Cossacks. And they started laughing at such a request, and they wrote a letter back, basically calling him a dog, a pig, and etc., etc. And so these two pictures really describe the difference between two very different mentalities. The spirit of freedom, resilience, and readiness to fight, and on the other hand, readiness to serve Tsar, to be in slavery. Whatever Tsar says, we will do. So that's basically a very important point to make, to understand modern Ukrainians, modern Ukraine. And finally, this is a picture of, there were many pictures with, it's called Cossack Mamai. Cossack Mamai is like an archetype of a Ukrainian, Cossack of a Ukrainian, basically. Freedom, wisdom, courage, and you will find everything in this picture. Creativity, music, horse, weapon, and tree. This oat tree is very important. So this is like this description of a Ukrainian mentality, philosophic mindset, broad worldview, and all of that. Next point, today when we work with Ukrainians, we will mostly likely deal with creativity, endurance, as you said, resilience. All of that is present in our business culture as well. Ukrainian is supposed to be an agricultural country, as everyone says, but for some reason, many people do not somehow omit a very important component. Ukrainians are highly technological people. At least 300,000 IT professionals work in Ukraine. Also, Ukraine provides fantastic outsourcing opportunities, mainly because the fees for our services are much lower, and we have very good tax system for that cause, like 5% gross for private entrepreneurs providing services. So this open doors to be very agile, dynamic, vibrant, and work miracles, so to say, in the business setting. Very interesting statistics that Ukraine is #1 according to the Electronic Participation Index by the UN. #1 among the 193 countries, and also #5 according to Online Services Index by the UN. So these are new trends showing the development and growth. And I want to emphasize that all of this is happening amidst the war. Now, corruption. Again, in the 1990s, the first decade of after the collapse of the Soviet Union was was a time of just tremendous corruption, unbelievable corruption, because it was a byproduct of the communism system. But times have changed, and especially there was a Orange Revolution. It was the response of society against corruption, against fraud. Secondly, there was a revolution of dignity in 2013-14, and these democratic protests gave birth to a whole system of anti-corruption institutions. in Ukraine. And here you see, I highlighted only 5 of them, but there are more. But I think these 5 are the key. The first one was founded in 2012 as an NGO, independent anti-corruption institution. Vitaly Shabunin is a friend of mine. He's one of the leaders there. And also 4 other ones as state agencies playing different roles. And the most important one, I think, is the number 1 is National Anti-Corruption, number 4, National Agency on Corruption Prevention, established in 2015. Prevention. I think this is the most important one because, and it works perfectly. It is the example of a state service and quality of everything, from digital data processing to communications and management. It's just brilliant. This agency is just an example even to many businesses. National Agency on Corruption Prevention. I think it is the most important one because it is strategic. It works with students, with kids, with children. It's a strategic, long-term, very smart solution to cleanse Ukraine from corruption. Because if we work well with preventing corruption, there is no need to spend so much resources for investigation and prosecutor's office, etc., etc. But for now, since we are fighting the remainings of the Soviet Union, these outdated corruption situations, the 3 other institutions are crucial. For example, National Anti-Corruption Bureau of Ukraine, then Anti-Corruption Prosecutor's Office, and finally Anti-Corruption Court, established in 2019. So these 5 play a significant role in modern Ukraine to resist corruption, and they have been very, very effective. So this makes Ukraine a different country than it used to be in the first decade after the collapse of the Soviet Union. So when we deal with Ukraine and we hear all kinds of rumors or especially propaganda and or fairy tales, whatever you call it, please keep this in mind. This is the reality. Also, I have received the fresh research made by Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, Integrity and Anti-Corruption Review of Ukraine. I hope Katerina will be able to send it to you after our webinar, the full document. And let me read just a few quotes from it. Ukraine has shown the world that it is possible for a country to defend itself against a full-scale invasion and simultaneously improve its defenses against corruption to a level that aligns closely with international benchmarks in OECD and EU countries. So this is a very, very strong statement, and I just confirm the accuracy of it. Then further in the research, they say that in 2024 alone, National Anti-Corruption Bureau of Ukraine and state agency, I forgot how to correctly Prosecutor's Office of Ukraine started 658 new criminal cases with the following details. And we can all agree to this, and that testifies of a very active work and institutions know what they're doing. Now, this is probably the most important chart in our presentation because it shows a huge difference between the corruption perception and the actual experience with corruptions people have. The line above, the darker color, is the perception, and the line below is the actual experience of corruption. So we see clearly then, in 2021, the experience of corruption was dropped dramatically. It's a very low level. However, the perception for some reason remains very high. And mostly, of course, because of propaganda, because there is an informational war, there is informational field of manipulations, and so the perception remains high. But in reality, as we see, it does not. There is a huge discrepancy. In my personal experience, I was born in Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine. I studied here. I have been working for many years here in various industries. And I personally have never given any bribe to anybody in my entire life. And I have not witnessed any case of corruption personally, being a Ukrainian living in Ukraine. I have a high level of corruption perception, but in reality, when it comes to business relations and government relations and lobbying, this is not the case. Again, this is my personal testimony. I'm not sure about the others, but again, this is my story. One more quotation from the research. The policymaking and prevention function have been institutionalized through the central role of the national anti-corruption. This is I think a mistaken abbreviation. The agencies, which have has made good progress in delivering results and has shown strong political independence. Talking of anti-corruption institutions, civil society has recognized the improvement of anti-corruption institutions' capacity, governance, and coordination between 2012 and 2003. The point is here that these anti-corruption institutions show strong political independence, and society has recognized that. Now, one of the most effective tools to drop the level of corruption significantly in Ukraine was digitalization. And here's the list of at least 10 digital tools that I have prepared for you to demonstrate how it actually works. But I will highlight only just in my opinion, the key of them. The key is number 5. It's a DIA application. It's a government platform reducing bureaucracy and corruption through e-services. For example, this is a mobile app. Every citizen can have it and solve all kinds of endless problems relating to getting all kinds of permits, licenses, registration, etc., etc. If you want to register as a private entrepreneur, you just push the button, and just within 5 minutes you have everything in place, and you can start your business and be a legal business entity, and it's fantastic. Now, sometimes you're required to provide all kinds of papers normally issued by certain state bodies. This can be done within minutes, if not seconds, through this digital tool. In the first decade of Ukraine, you would have to spend days, weeks, if not months, to get just a paper confirming, that you, whatever. So it was a headache, and the source of all kinds of bribes to speed up things, to make things faster. It was a temptation for people and businesses to get involved in corruptions to make things easier and faster. But now, because of digitalization, it's gone. It's just gone. So DIA in English it means action. So DIA is an excellent example of that. In this list of digital tools is Prozoro, number one, for example. It's electronic public procurement system. It's amazing because now everything is digitalized, and the competition to become a contractor for state inquiries, for service providers, it's also online, and it's very, very difficult. I don't know how you can really put corruption there. It's very difficult to do. So that's another tool eliminating or minimizing corruption in the relations between businesses and government. And number 10 is the newest step taken by the National Agency for Corruption Prevention. It's lobbying registry. Anyone who wants to influence the legislation must be registered in this lobbying registry. And of course, many lobbyists, they did not like this regulation, and I can understand that. But for the sake of transparency between state and those who want to impact our legislation, this step was supported by the professionals, and it is a very strong step towards fighting, almost like the final step to creating the ecosystem, anti-corruption ecosystem. So now it looks like everything is in place. Okay, and just a few thoughts, and then I will be able to answer your questions. Mistakes foreign companies make when entering Ukraine. In the last year, we have received so many inquiries from different countries, and there was a common feature among all of these companies. Each of them was very proud about the product they produce or the service, mostly products. And every product was unique. And each company assumed that our government would just had been waiting for this moment to purchase their product because it will solve our problems. But the problem was that these companies who basically were entering the Ukrainian market, they did not have any strategy to work with Ukraine. They were not ready to, to invest in this strategic action, and they simply wanted easy solutions. For example, do you have customers to buy such a product? And I was really surprised. I heard many questions like that. Do you know any customers who might be interested, in buying or this or that, and it's so these are mistakes. This is not really professional, in my opinion. If you want to enter any foreign market of any country, you've got to take extra effort, and it must be reflected somehow in your budget. Number 3, charitable activities, humanitarian projects. There are cases when we hear, we have a gift, we have a very generous gift for you, but you have to take care of all the logistics, all the custom clearance, all of the procedures, all of the management, all of the administration. So don't you take our generous gift? Don't you appreciate our generosity? And so charity is expensive. Professional humanitarian work involves administration costs, and in international work, extra expenses, especially during the war. And so some organizations somehow they do not see it, and they anticipate the country at war, doing all of this administration work for free, or pro bono, etc. So again, charity is expensive. It involves sometimes even more management than the regular business. Number 4, it's not a mistake, it's almost a humor. There is a verse in the Bible, in the book of Proverbs, a lion on the street. The idea is that there are always reasons not to change. Why won't you leave your home? Because there is a lion on the street of my city. It's like almost a nonsense. But we hear many investors, potential business partners, always finding excuses why they are not ready to work with Ukraine, because of corruption, because of this, because of that, asking a lot of information, asking a lot of data, but never having courage to take risks, to take extra effort and cause the change, do something right now. There is always an excuse. And number 5, finally, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. It's a famous proverb saying. The idea is that some companies approaching Ukraine approach with their own agenda or with their own cultural ideas, and they are not really open to other ways of doing things or other cross-cultural differences. There is only one way, the way it's done in their country. And with such an approach, it's hard for me to believe that these companies might succeed. For example, in one of the meetings at the British Chamber of Commerce, British Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce, one man from England stood up and said, how corrupted Ministry of Finance was. And I really wanted to talk to him because it was a very interesting case, but he escaped, he ran away. And so, I never had a chance to, to find out what happened and why he had such a sad, dramatic testimony of working with our Ministry of Finance. Okay, let's move on. Mistakes. Our Irina Borovets, our co-CEO and former Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, we had a just informal conversation, so it's an informal phrase I noted from her, and I'll just read it. Without a local partner, you will simply waste your time, she said. It often goes like this. Your C-level team comes to Kyiv for a PR trip, has a few nice meetings where promises are made on both sides. No one follows up or maintains the connection. 6 months of stagnation. If you bring in a local partner from the start, they will oversee everything and continuously grow your presence. A local partner also keeps a close eye on the market news and competitors. They can alert you to any changes before they even begin. Plus, a local partner has connections in the market, from media to contractors. And I must add that probably most importantly, like in our case, the CFC Brigadier companies, we have well-established connections with the government, with both legislators and the executive branch of power, and all kinds of ministries, etc., etc. This is a very, very serious benefit to have partners with such a legacy. The final question, how to succeed? Ignore propaganda, lying on the street, so to speak. Find a trusted local partner. Be ready to take extra effort. Expand budget for the new market entry. And when if it's a humanitarian organization, extra budget must be involved for extra administrative costs as well. For example, one church here in Kyiv received a generous gift of like a huge reassemble construction to be used for all kinds of large activities, like for 1,000 people and all kinds of big events. But there was one condition. The church had to organize logistics from California to Kyiv. And so the cost for all of that exceeded the cost of constructing a similar facility locally. Again, charity is expensive. Number 5 is very important. Please, I will say something very important right now. I hear complaints from different foreign organizations because things are not going the way they're going in their countries. But this is the example of what digital platforms did in Ukraine, such as Uber, Glovo, Bolt, and Uklon. The 4 digital platforms with 350,000 drivers and couriers working on all of these 4 platforms. There was no regulation for the industry, for the digital platforms industry in Ukraine. And instead of complaining individually, they have formed a coalition of digital platforms. And I personally represent one of the Uber in particular, Uber company, in our government bodies when I have to speak at roundtables and contribute to legislative developments, etc., etc. But what happens? These companies represent being competitors individually, but being friends in their relations with the government. They united and they go as one in any moves, strategic moves relating to dealing with the government. These companies work as one. And this is fantastic. And this is a very good example. For example, there are medical issues. One of the most sophisticated areas is, medical area and education. But the problem I see is that many organizations work separately. They do not unite. They do not create one agenda, one case, one policy they want to achieve in relation from the government, and the government does not see any intentional effort of many participants to take seriously the inquiries from this field. So to succeed in Ukraine in government relations, this could be probably a very practical advice: not be alone, unite with others, create coalitions, and together we are strong. Thank you very much for your precious time and your attention, and I'm open to answer your questions.
Thank you very much, Oles, and please turn on your camera so we can see you. Dear participants, if you have questions or you want to share some stories, please, Daniel.
Yes, thanks a lot, Oles. I just wonder very practically, let's take a company which has a local partner in Ukraine, and let's say that this local partner participates in a tender for, let's say, $1 million in Ukraine. If you take the whole process from before the tender is launched until the contract is won, and let's assume that, let's say, we as Swedish, we are not involved in corruption at all. But how do you see really our competitors, let's say, how much could they possibly be involved in corruption? Not fair competition, but let's say corruption practices that we as non-corrupt country has to be aware about and maybe check or think of in this process, if you get my question. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not an expert in tenders, and I am also not, our company and many other companies, we are not corrupt as well. So it's a mystery to us, the same as for you. But of course, we need to study each case specifically. What kind of tender it is? Is it a state? Is state involved? Etc. There are too many variables to consider. And what goals you want to achieve. Is tender truly the best instrument to achieve your goals? Maybe there are other more effective ways to achieve your goals. So it's this is how we work. So we study each case separately, dive in, and find out these ways, and only legal ways, of course. Yeah, so this is my short answer for your question. Maybe not exactly what you wanted to hear, but it is what it is.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dan.
Do we have more comments? Yeah, Maria?
Yes, thank you very much for an interesting presentation. I was thinking, since you say that you're based in Kiev and you haven't experienced this and so on, but do you have an idea, how is it in the rest of the country? Is it different in like rural areas or in different parts of Ukraine, in smaller cities, or is Kiev performing better in this way? Or are there any thoughts on that?
Maria, you mean corruption?
Yes, sorry.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. Again, so there is corruption perception and the actual experience of corruption. And the question is, what is corruption? So there is bribery, there is corruption. Corruption always invites a government official. If there is no government official, it's a market relations, so there must be something. And in that terms, Kiev is the capital. There is parliament and cabinet of ministries and foreign affairs, and everything is here. And so in terms of corruption, that would be probably Kiev to see as the object of our study. all kinds of little bribery. You know, it's everywhere, like in the world. I mean, it's in little towns or villages, they're probably more like friends of friends and things like that, I assume, because it's everywhere. Then talking of corruption, for example, Ukrainians have learned to discern, to see the signs of corruption. Ukrainians have zero tolerance to corruption. We hate corruption, Ukrainian society. So this is the very important message I want to deliver to you. Ukrainians hate corruption. And for example, and so we see the sign of corruption. One of them is oligarchy, which is billionaires coming to power. And so when we look, for example, at the United States, for Ukrainians, there are many questions about that. For example, receiving a gift in the form of an aircraft. A president of a country receives a gift, an aircraft. But for somehow we are discussing Ukraine as the most corrupt. Secondly, oligarchs or criminals who gained their billions in a very criminal way. The question is, where do these oligarchs and criminals keep their money? In the European Union and other European countries and the United States, Austria, Switzerland, United Kingdom, even Netherlands, and other countries. Beautiful countries with the perception of exemplary democratic nations, etc., etc. But for some reason, the countries that keep the money of our criminals, they accuse Ukraine of corruption. But receiving and keeping the money of criminals, it's absolutely okay with them. They also give shelter to criminals from Russia, from Ukraine, and other post-Soviet, and they provide them very comfortable life, and they're okay. But who is corrupt? Ukraine, not them. So I'm, and I can, go on and on. In terms of what corruption is. Schroeder, former Chancellor of Germany, serving Russia, directly or indirectly working for KGB, and providing the reason for indirectly for this war to happen. We can, what forms of corruption can be in Sweden, for example? This is a question to ask, because
yeah, but I guess today's topic is more to understand how we should deal with it in Ukraine. I mean, many countries, of course, have these problems, and that's not. But I mean, for today, I think it's important to understand what can we do in the Ukrainian context. It's not. I think that's would be more useful to understand how to go about it, because all countries have, of course, their different cultural ways of dealing with this.
Yes, absolutely. So this is my challenge for you. Because to succeed in Ukraine, my point number one was get rid of propaganda. Lying on the street. We will not work with Ukraine. Why? Because there is corruption. It doesn't work this way. This is an outdated language of the 1995 to 2004. Okay, I wrote a book on that, and I was very mad, at corruption and so on. Now we have these instruments dealing with corruption, and so to succeed in Ukraine, I think the way to go is to find a local partner with a legacy, trusted. You can initiate due diligence, of course, to make sure that it's all corresponds to the high standards of Swedish practices in Sweden, and just general EU practices, and you know, a good partner will take off this load, and of course, like we work legally. There are legal ways to achieve everything. Sometimes it's longer, but yeah.
I'm sorry.
Sorry
that I interrupt you, but maybe you can explain where foreign companies or businesses that, for example, they think that they have right now some problems with corruption or phenomena of this, can they go to some state institutions and have support or have some more understanding what corruption is, how it looks like, what instruments they can use for defend their businesses, for example? Thank you.
Yeah. Again, as I mentioned in my presentation, there are digital registries where you can report any form of corruption, from simple bribery, requirements, to more sophisticated corruption schemes immediately. And state officials are really afraid of this. This really works.
Thank you so much for everything you shared today. And as I said, I share all information that you shared with me, and your presentation, your contacts, and of course, all our dear guests. Feel free to contact Oles if you will have more questions in the future. Thank you so much for being with us. Have a good day. And
thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Oles. Have a good day. Bye.